2.5 at 6 incline for 2 miles again. I spent a good portion, like actually my entire morning, sitting and reading. And you know, the shitty thing about that is like, if you get too caught up in your mind is gonna make whatever you're doing wrong. You know, it's gonna make reading. Why are you reading? You should be doing this. You're gonna be working on it. You should be reading. How come you're not? You know, like it's gonna make whatever you're doing wrong. Anyway, so I read a good portion of a book. I'm really trying to hone in on who exactly do I want to talk to. You know, because like this workout videos, whatever, it's kind of like my offering to the workout gods. Like it's forcing me in a way to be accountable and to do it and to show up and to like, it did happen, you know? But like really, I'm trying to figure out who do I want to serve? What is my message? And getting really clear about that, because that's the foundation, and that you build everything off of that, right? So I was doing a little writing, journaling this morning after I was reading, while I was reading, I felt pulled to like kind of write down these thoughts that I had about like how the mind, when we look to the mind to be our leader, right? It will take you in circles. It will give you things to believe, things to battle, things to fight, things to figure out, challenges, struggles, like things to figure out before you will be okay, you know, which keeps you on this never-ending loop. And I was like, I made that connection with like, when you engage with it. Okay, that's something I want to talk about. When you engage with a battle, any battle, let's stick with an internal battle. The moment you engage with it, you lost already. That's done. Like a worthiness battle. What do I gotta do to blank? Like problems to solve. Hoops to jump through. Whenever you start battling with that, it'll just lead you in circles. You know, it's like when you have the mind as leader. What the fuck am I trying to say? I feel really called to help people with blocks, like blind spots. Like I can listen to somebody tell me, you know, talk about their problem, talk about like, whatever. And especially if I know some of their history and stuff, I can kind of pull out exactly why they're stuck. And like what little shift they could make that would really shift a lot of things. And it's like, I'm trying to figure out how to package that in this, like, block of very simple, specific solution. It's not even really a solution, it's just identifying the problem. I don't know what it is, I feel super staticky. Like, you know, like just white noise. Trying to figure out why that is. What is that? I can't help but feel like clarity, right? Clarity is another name, in a way, for certainty. Confusion is another word for uncertainty. And I don't know if like clarity is kind of getting taken away in a way to force me to live with the uncertainty, get used to it, get acclimated to it. Because it's like only when I'm in that uncertainty, unclear, do I, don't rest on my own wisdom and knowledge and whatever. Like it leaves me in a I don't know place, and once you're in an I don't know place, then you surrender knowing because you don't know, and then making it clarity. But it's like, I don't know, like I resist being in that space. It's so uncomfortable, right? It's like I'm attached to clarity. I'm attached to certainty. And like anywhere you're attached, you're dependent on it. Anything you're dependent on, you're powerless to. It's just almost like that whole cycle is getting ripped away from me in order to essentially give me power back, right? Like, it's paradoxical, but if you're dependent on clarity, to have certainty, to know where you're going, then what is there to do if you already know? And if you're here to discover, to learn, to grow, you have to stay out of knowing. So the rug's gonna constantly get swiped out from under you in order to force you into this state of I don't fucking know. Only then can you know. And it's like moments of limitations, restrictions, lost. It really sheds light on what you're dependent on. And if you're dependent on something, you're powerless to it. If you're powerless to it, you're a victim. You're at the mercy of the world. There's very valid reason to be afraid. But if that whole thing is trying to get plucked, any area where you're going to sit and feel like you know, is yanked. To force you into staying and sitting and getting used to and acclimated to not knowing. Only in the state of not knowing can you know. But not know what you think. Know what you need to be told. Like you need to receive. Know the new place you're needed to go. So when you rest on your mind and your own wisdom, it's like you're only going to regurgitate the things you already know. which is like AI, right? It just has a pool of knowledge that it pulls from, connects to, like it does all kinds of crazy fancy stuff, but nothing really new. And it's like, in order to do something new, you have to let go of all the things old. And to let go of all the things old, you have to let go of knowing. And you have to sit in not knowing. It's attachment. Really, it's attachment to knowing. Oh shit. This is 3. Just fast and gotta get this done. When I talk, what if being playful, lighthearted, was actually a good strategy? Here and now. Be here and now. When you start listening to your mind for interpretations and subtitles on what is happening in reality, it will never give you the right story. What if the mind was writing stories based on your feeling? Without even actually knowing what's happening. And without really seeing what's going on. It's like getting feedback through feeling. Ah, stress. Oh, give a story about stress. Flavor it with stress. thoughts are stressed, feelings are stressed, they sync up with the reality. Yeah, I always get this image of like someone blindfolded steering the wheel, and the only person that can see is actually the person in the passenger seat. And the person in the passenger seat has to direct the driver on where to go. You need to listen. So it's like the driver's like the doer in the body, driving the car. Then you have the backseat driver, like your mind, telling you what it thinks it needs to do, like trying to get you to listen to it. Then maybe you can have your intuition sitting in the passenger seat, calmly giving you instructions. But the mind in the backseat, so loud, so convincing in its explanations that we end up listening to that when it's also blindfolded and it cannot see. But it's like, it's feeling your feelings. Your feelings is getting transmitted to your mind. It's giving you thoughts that match the feelings that it feels from you because it's blindfolded. And your intuition in the passenger seat is the only one that actually does know. But it will never shout. It will never raise its voice. It will never demand. It will always just, in a calm, knowing manner, turn here. Oh my God, you're gonna hit the wall. You gotta go straight. Oh. If I did, okay, when it turns 1 mile, I'll do 4 speed as long as I can. And build up. Mile, 0.1 mile. It's like a tenth of a mile. That's 4. when someone rejects you, it's an offer. They're offering you, do you want to reject you too? If you fight it, compensate for it, defend it, are offended by it, like any of those where you touch and engage with it, you consented to it. You're telling yourself you agree, which is not a bad thing. It's data. So see that there's a part of you that agrees. Question it. Why do you agree with that? What is it you see? All the battles you have outside are projected battles from within. I've agreed with that, disagreed with that, agreed with it, disagreed with it. Now I'm back to agreeing with it again. But every time you pick it up and let it go, pick it up and let it go, each time you pick it up on a new, more nuanced level, so it's with the understanding, now I have the understanding that it's happening within, it's something that you secretly think, and to come to terms with it, to look at it, to see it, to question it. It's the only reason it's being projected to you. It's asking you, do you still want to reject yourself? Do you still hate yourself? Do you still feel you're unworthy? Like it's an offer. And like Gordon Hall says, there's 4 doors that any offer can walk through. You accept it, conditionally accept it, deny it, or argue. But acceptance, conditional acceptance, deny, argue. Wait, but deny and argue is the same thing. Oh, silence. That's right, that's the other one. The 4th one is silence. So they ignore it. But you see, now that when you think about that in terms of the inner battle, right? How can you, using silence, so ignoring it, how could that reinforce it? I mean, unless by ignoring it, it means you compensate for it, dissociate from it, deny it, so it's almost like you agree with it, but you pretend like you didn't see it. If that's what he means by silence, and I can see, yeah, that's no good. So when you do conditional acceptance, it's basically you respond with a question. Clearly, I feel off today. Something's weighing me down. It's like an unspoken thought that I'm not quite clear of, so it's kind of just running me from behind. And the only effects I know from it is this feeling of like, ugh. No, it's almost like that's worse than feeling like angry or totally lost. Like to be in that middle gray no man's land of like you're neither clear nor confused. You're just like in this meh land. I feel like that's worse sometimes. Because it's almost like depleted of any energy. Like you're not like angry so you have energy to now you can focus. It's just in like this like low hum. Like I'm in this workout, this walk. It's like it's dragging. But duh, my mind is making it drag. My mind is giving me an interpretation, a story that I'm just lapping up. My feelings are just lapping it up. But my saving grace is that I'm still doing it, right? The doer in the body is still. We ball. We're still gonna do it. So, I mean, silver lining. The mind makes the grind. That can't be a coincidence. Nothing can feel like a grind unless the mind is involved. So that should be the red flag that you're listening to the mind as leader. And he's directing your energy, your feeling, your whole state. It's been hijacked by the mind to feel like everything's a grind. Oh, jeez. What? What? Huh? What is it? I want to hear it. Explain in your own words. I can't hear that. Okay. Come closer. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, what?
So, in the first chapter, it explains that if the king of a kingdom is weak, then the kingdom is weak. So like, because the story, like the Fisher King,
Oh, the Fisher King.
yeah, he was like very ill, but it was unable to die. So like his kingdom was like in shambles, and his crops were poor. Maidens were like, I forget what the word was. Like children were being orphaned, like their parents were dying. Basically, the whole kingdom was like in tatters, shambles. And I also made another note about that. It says, if your mental state is weak, then the outside, the things you project, will be bad. Also bad. Just like the Fisher King. And yeah, the Fisher King, as like when in his early, like when he's a little boy, he like goes explore the forest and sees like a campsite kind of thing. But all the people at the campsite were gone, and so it's like roasting salmon. So he wants to go eat it, basically take it, and he touched it and he burned his hand. So when you burn your hand, you put it in your mouth. You have to like make it put on. And he got a bit of salmon, and like he said, like, he never forgot that. And there's also another note I made, like what that means. Like the salmon story is about a boy who touched something of Christ too early in his life, and you have to find a way to relieve that wound later on in his life. So like he touched something like that he wasn't supposed to touch early on.
So it was too early?
Yeah, too early.
So then it wounded him.
Yeah. And you have to find a way to relieve that wound later. You have a chance.
So he liked the salmon, right?
Yeah, he like got a taste of it once he did it.
But that's all he could get.
Yeah.
So it was almost like he wanted it more,
Yeah,
but he couldn't because he got burned by it.
yeah. Oh, and the last thing I read was, the story gives an example about the Fisher King's wound. It's a kid in class who wrote, like, so they said the Fisher King wound could be like about a specific event when you develop your consciousness. Like, there was this boy in class where he worked on like his like little, I don't know, I think it was like some kind of sort of essay or something, and then he gave it to the teacher, or he didn't give it to the teacher. The teacher collected all the stuff, and then he worked very hard on it, and then the teacher just said it was plagiarism because it was too good.
I've had that happen to me. Not necessarily that way, but it's like, you're lying.
Yeah.
That's such a very damaging thing
Yeah.
to someone's mind. A kid.
And he said it's plagiarism, and when I find the student who did this, will be expelled.
Jeez. Okay, you're punished for being smart? Is that what the thing is?
Will did nothing wrong.
You're being too good.
Actually, I think I have the attitude.
That's gaslighting.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I plagiarized. Sorry, teacher. And then he said that became a wound. An example of the Fisher King wound.
So is that a new one
Yeah.
or the same one?
No, it's like another example of it.
Oh.
Like, it can be about a specific event in your life early on.
So what does the wound look like? Does it tell that?
No, it's not. No, it doesn't tell that. It just tells like, it's like a, basically your inner,
Like a trauma?
yeah. And it says,
Because when they tell the story, it actually happens in the story. Like, can you get to that part
yeah,
yet?
yeah, they just explain that the king is weak right now.
Oh.
They didn't really get onto the story.
You read more. I read almost a whole book this morning.
It's you.
It's like 100-something pages.
It's you.
I think you can read a little bit more than 10.
No.
Yes. Is it like chapters? Or is it just one long? I forget how it's...
Oh, it's kind of, it's like, you know, it's kind of weird. Not weird, but like,
Bits and pieces?
yeah, it's like, it's not really a chapter. I guess it is.
So how much more to the next chapter? Did you get through one or not yet?
Well, I got the one.
So that whole one was about the wound?
Yeah.
Wait, so is it Parsifal?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
after that word.
Oh, so he's like the hero, yeah?
Yeah.
That's trying to save the Fisher King, right? Do you remember that from Ready Player One? That was the guy's tag name. The main guy, Parsifal. And then the girl was like commenting on his name, like she knew the story. He's trying to let him know, like, oh, I know where you got that from, because most people wouldn't know that. So I was like, hey, we're the same. So how much did you read in Iron Jaw, or did you like just not even go on?
Well, I did.
Like what was conflict? What were they talking about that you felt like, oh God, I don't want it anymore? Like where did it get confusing? What were they talking about? Huh? What was the last thing you comprehended?
Understood?
Yeah. From what you read today in Iron John. Well, I mean, I can understand you were reading it while you were listening to Dan TDM. It not go work. You can't read a hard book while listening to a YouTuber playing a game that's more interesting. You just set yourself up to fail that one. I think you should still try it. I don't want to give you this feeling of like you can just quit when it gets hard. That's not a good trait to affirm. Should be when it's hard, you try harder. Where the hell are you? Jimmy, don't get mad because I'm holding you to higher standards. It serves nobody but yourself. Can you come look what time it is? Go look what time it is. Did my alarm go off?